intention is to build a business and make a ton of money, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Renew your intentions always. When you remember the reason why you do something, then it completely reshifts the thing that you're doing. What's the hardest truth you've had to learn about entrepreneurship?
No one is there to save you. If you're a good, faithful, religious business owner that has values, you're going to think multiple times. You don't have to think like 4, 5, 6 times. But the simple definition of scaling a business literally means more is more. Not more services, not more verticals, not more, like literally just more. It's like the best business owners ever are running away from something. Having empathy actually increases retention, believe it or not.
I'm doing this for the sake of God and God alone. Bismillah. Welcome back to QadrCast. I'm here again with the wonderful Ibraheem, Alani. Thank you for joining us, man.
Of course.
Once again, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper now that we had a great discussion and got to know a little bit about you and your mindset, what started you off in your entrepreneurial journey, and your thoughts on strategy, teams, deen, purpose, motivation. And yeah, I mean, how are you feeling?
Dude, feeling amazing. Have not eaten today, but Red Bull and
Come on, let's crack it open. Let's crack it open.
iced tea will get us up and running today. You know, I always say if you eat less, if you eat a lot, you're gonna become really stuffed and you're not gonna want to work. So if you starve yourself, you're always gonna be wanting something and you're hungry. And so naturally you're just gonna want to work more and
you're hungry
by that.
That's actually it relates to a principle in Islam when they talk about that too. It's like once your stomach is full, Bani Adam cares more about their other carnal desires like lust and other things too, right? So, but when you keep your stomach empty or mostly empty, this is why we fast and do things like that, you're only worried about survival. And like eating is the only thing you're thinking about, right? So if you can manage that where you're not like filling your belly and then worrying about like all your other desires, and you're just like having enough to sustain yourself and not like indulge. Gluttony, it's like one of these sins that we're supposed to be avoiding. Then that's actually like, it's a very healthy approach for you. But then again, you know, I'm out here trying to bulk, so it's like a balance for us. But clean bulk, not dirty bulk.
So yeah, and I also want to get back into the deen aspect of things, and I want to ask you this. Obviously, you're very indulged with the Islamic culture here in the DMV area. I want to ask, how do you stay consistent? I mean, let's say you say I'm going to read Quran every single day, which is something I've personally been doing as well.
MashaAllah.
I'm going to read Quran every single day, like a couple pages every single day. You know, to just, you know, like with no time frame, no expectations for it. And so how do you say like, I'm going to stay consistent doing that one thing for an extended amount of time and stay motivated doing it? So that's my question to you.
Renew your intentions. Renew your intentions always. When you remember the reason why you do something, then it completely reshifts the thing that you're doing. A lot of the times when we lose motivation is because we lose sight of our intentions, right? When we renew our niyyah and then we have a clear, honest intention that I'm doing this fi sabilillah, I'm doing this for the sake of God and God alone. I'm not doing this to show off or do this for like to pat my own ego. Then you clarify, you know, and you just clarity. It brings clarity in that. So if I set an intention to read Quran every day and I haven't been keeping up with that, it's probably because I lost like a little bit of that intention or sight of that intention. Or the other thing could be burnout as well too. And so, I mean, our faith wavers, so it is important to like give yourself like a little bit of a break too, because sometimes if you're going hard or whatever that is relatively for you and you're striving, you can have the rubber band effect where it bounces back the other way and then you fall completely off. So I try not to exert myself as much as I sometimes did in the past when I noticed that soon after that point, I had the rubber band effect and I kind of fell off completely. And I'm scared of that, which is a healthy fear to have. So what I try to do to balance that is I try to do something that is like within my capabilities, pushing myself a little bit, but not completely exerting myself. Obviously, when Ramadan comes, like the grind is different and you try to exert yourself as much as you can. But yeah, that's what I try to do. That's what I try to make my approach. And yeah.
And I'm extremely religious myself, and I you know take pride on, you know, advancing. Like the way that I am right now wasn't the way that I was a few years ago.
Of course.
And so my main question there is like, you have this podcast and we're talking about Islam here and we're talking about these subjects. My question is, at what point does it stop becoming you trying to push Islam and force it on other people potentially? I'm not saying force, but push it on other people essentially. or just keeping it internally within yourself and just keeping it between you and God? Is there a balance that happens there, and where's that gray area in the middle?
I think a lot of people have that thought process where it's like, this is between me and Allah, I'm going to keep it that way. But we're also told that convey even one verse. If you know one verse, you convey even one verse. So what that's saying is that your personal relationship, meaning your deeds, like whether or not you're praying qiyam and you're praying tahajjud and you're giving in charity, you know, these things, that for the most part, you can keep between you and Allah. And there's times when to do public deeds and there's times when to do private deeds. But something important to know is, you know, we're all vicegerents. We're all put here as ambassadors of the deen, you know, and with that, we have a role, we have a right, we have a responsibility, and we have to fulfill that. And that is telling people about the deen. And that doesn't always mean verbally. We're on a podcast, I say, you know, we believe in La ilaha illallah and we believe in the 5 pillars. That means through our actions and through our behavior as well. So it's like when I watch my vernacular and I have a clean mouth, and when I'm doing business and I'm not engaging in usury and interest and promoting obscene things, when I'm a good neighbor, like the neighbor has a lot of rights in Islam, and if I'm inviting them over for dinner and I'm helping them take care of their house, and if I'm just doing different things in society where when I'm interacting with people, they're like, that's an upstanding person. I want to be like that person. I want to know what makes that person that way. And then I tell them, well, that's because it's my right, it's my duty and my responsibility to be this way in Islam. Like if you go out of here and you see a lady's getting robbed, I know for a fact you'll step in there and you'll be like, hey, you know, you got to stop that. And it's not because she owes you anything or you owe her anything or you think like, you know, she's gonna think you're so heroic because of that, but it's just because it's what you're supposed to do, because you know that it's like it's the right thing to do. And when she asks, well, why did you do that? You're gonna be like, because it's the right thing to do. And it's like, what taught you these principles and these values? Well, Islam. So when I'm talking to people about that, I don't think there's any trip up or like gray area or anything. I think the people that think that way have a mindset where they separate deen and dunya, and they say like what my life is here is my life, and what my relationship with my religion is super private and I don't tell anybody about it. But I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be. The reality is, and I was talking to another guy, he's a host of an amazing podcast, Mahmoud Ansari, the Ansari podcast, if you've seen it, and he was telling me, he said the way to deen is through the dunya, and he heard that actually from another person who was on a podcast as well. So it's like we're all conveying the same message, but that's true. Yeah. It's that the way to deen is through the life that you live. When you live that life and you exemplify your character and your beliefs through the life that you live, that tells people about your deen, and that that's the best way to that's the way that God tests you in your upholding of your deen as well, because it's not like, okay, I lock in for Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, and besides that, I'm just a guy who's working on his business. No, it's like every time you go to work and you set your intention that I'm doing this so I can provide for my family and for the ummah. I'm doing this so that my others around me don't have to struggle, or so that I don't have to struggle and I have to be a beggar. Because, you know, being a beggar, it's like we feel bad for them, but at the same time, like it's a position we don't want to have to be in, because now you're trying to ask other people and you're burdening other people to help you out and everything. You want to be self-reliant. You want to be in a position where you're successful, because that's something that's going to bring about ease, and we're trying to bring about ease. We're trying to make things easy on others and on ourselves. So the motivation behind things, making that always, like clarifying your intention in everything you do, is how you can really exemplify your beliefs and do things with the most reward too. Because if you're thinking about it, it's all about, you know, our akhirah and what we're getting out of this life that we live. So everything we do, contrary to what a lot of people think, can be, you know, deposited towards our akhirah. Like even when I'm drinking this Sprite and I'm holding it in my right hand and I'm Bismillah before I sip, and it's like when we're sitting down here and we're keeping in mind what we're talking about and what we're sharing, what we're putting out there, in everything we do, in work and in business and eating and fun. Like, you know, it's like, you know, even when you're making jokes and making sure like I'm not making this at somebody's expense because I don't want to hurt their feelings or whatever. So yeah, it's just, I think keeping your intention first, that's the most important thing. They say that all actions are judged based off of their intention, right? So if your intention isn't there, you can go to the gym for 5 hours a day. the same as the guy next to you, except you set an intention that I'm doing this to have a good, strong body, so I'm upholding, you know, my responsibility to be a caretaker and to be a protector. And I'm also doing this because Allah gifted me with the ability to go and do this thing. And now I'm respecting that gift, and I'm being grateful for it, because I'm not supposed to be a lazy, fat slob, right? If it's within my capabilities to avoid that, then I'm supposed to do that. Whereas the other person's going because he wants more girls to see that he's buff and he's jacked, right? So they're doing it, they're not getting that reward because they didn't set their intention, or they had the wrong intention. So your intention changes everything.
And do you think intention, like let's say there's two actions that happen exactly the same, and one person's intention was pure and clean and the other's intention wasn't pure and clean, do you think that change, and this is the same exact outcome, do you think in the eyes, maybe in the eyes of Allah it'll change, but in the eyes of exactly what happened, do you think the intention really matters if you had the intention and the same exact action happen?
Yeah, 100% still, because again, like you said, Allah's going to view it differently. And at the end of the day, our opinions don't matter. As much as we like to think that, like, you know, we're so great and mighty, it's not about our opinion. It's about like the one who's there to judge us. There's only one judge. The rest of everybody else who judges you, they say don't care what people think, you know, because they're not the judge at the end of the day. So it does definitely matter, I think.
And do you feel like the tougher the thing is to complete, the more rewarding it becomes?
Of course, we're rewarded in accordance to our test, and everybody, you know, Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. So we're given a test that's in accordance with our capabilities. And some people, man, they go through trials. Like we all go through trials, but like, you know, everybody's is different and unique. But you know, Allah is Al-Hakim. He's the most wise, and everything that, you know, we go through, we will be rewarded. They say even, you know, when you get like a small minor inconvenience, like even the prick of a thorn, you're expiated for some of your sins because of any kind of pain or hardship you go through. So sometimes I remember, and I'm thinking like, you know, like if I start getting that mindset, which is really unhealthy, that you think about why do they have it like that, or why don't I have it like that, and I don't think they went through this and I went through this, then you remember it's like, well, that's just added bonus points to you, because it's like, you know, you went through that and you made it through that, and Allah's gonna see that. Allah sees everything that other people don't see. When you're alone and you're crying, or when you're alone and you're hurting, or when, you know, you feel down bad and there's no other exit out, we say Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Like we turn to Allah, we ask Allah for help only. And that's the whole concept of avoiding shirk, is like we don't turn to other people and things and like an amulet or a statue or a person or something, right? And that's something I've been working on a lot recently too, which is like if I get something like really good news, or if I get really bad news, or if like something happens, like instead of that first reaction, let me talk to my best friend, or let me, you know, ask my family about it, or let me convey this message or vent or post or whatever. No, let me go like make wudu, do 2 rak'ah, and like be grateful, or cry in sujood, and just like go to Allah about all of my worries and my happiness, my success, my pain, my everything, right? For everything, we turn the same direction. That's why, you know, we have the Qibla, and we face in the same direction no matter where we are on earth. It was the first time that I was facing west, I believe, when I went to Dubai, and that was cool too, because I was like, yo, usually I'd be facing east, but it's like, you know, I have this thing that I say. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please. I have a complete separate thought.
Yeah, it was related to the clothing brand. It's like, this is a small plug for it, but I know you're asking about it. So it says, Qadr is my compass. I say, Qadr is my compass, because when you remember the divine decree of Allah, and you remember that everything is predetermined and based off of Allah's ever, you know, infinite wisdom, that it's going to happen that way, then you know that no matter what you do, as long as you have that the creator in mind, and you have a good intention, that it's going to turn out, you know, it's going to be in your favor. Why would it not be in your favor? Because it was planned by the best of planners.
Of course.
So you keep that Qadr in mind, and keep that as your compass, meaning it directs you and it guides you in life when you feel lost and you feel like you don't have direction. That's what gives me direction, because I do not know what's going to happen tomorrow. Just like that reel we were referencing last time we were talking, you were saying at 0K, at 10K, at 20K, I didn't know. You know, I didn't know what was going on. I do not know what's going on. I'm not going to lie and claim, as people do, that, you know, this is the key and this is everything, and like, this is how you do it, this is the formula. There is no formula. There's tips and there's tricks, but at the end of the day, nobody knows what's going on. We're all doing guesswork. Some people are better at guessing than others. That's the truth. So when I go through like work, deen, anything that I'm like thinking about, how do I get better at it, or how do I tackle this challenge, or how do I learn this thing, I just keep in mind that if I keep my intention clear and I'm doing it for the right reason and I'm putting in my best effort, that it should turn out good. And the rest, like what's out of my control, I can't stress about, you know?
Yeah. When I first started business, there was a book that I really liked and I lived by and I continued to read. And it wasn't an Islamic book. It was I'm not sure if the lady was like Christian or something. And the book's name was The Secret. And I'm sure you've heard about it. And The Secret, what it essentially talks about is like the art of manifestation and how to make things happen and how to bring things in. And so I took it at face value. I was like, okay, manifestation, whatever, you know, I believed in it. And so, you know, like the more that you think that you can get something, the more doors that you're going to open for yourself. So even if you're delusional or manifestation doesn't work, if you believe it's going to work, you're going to open more doors for yourself. And I don't like to use the term like, if you think it's going to work, it's going to work. I like there to be a reason why it's going to work. And the reason is you're just going to open more doors for yourself. Anyways, long story short, she mentions this universe where she's like, if you want something, you have to ask the universe for it. Universe. And so in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, universe is Allah. And so that was kind of my clicking, like my aha moment where everything she was saying is correct. She was just talking about the wrong thing.
You just reframed it in the lens of Islam, yeah.
Exactly. And so she'd be like, you know, if whatever you tell yourself is going to happen, there's a reason why some people just have such an easy life and they just get everything for like super easily, while there's others doing their absolute best, trying hard and still not getting what they want. And all that is, again, is just having faith, having tawakkul, essentially.
Yeah. Because they say, right, every single person on earth could gather and try to make it so that something happens, but if Allah doesn't will it to be, it won't ever happen. And the vice versa could be the same, right? Every single person on earth could gather and try to block something from happening, but Allah wills it to happen, then it'll happen. So it's like, that's true in definitely that if somebody's working extremely hard and it's just not happening, they might just be trying the wrong thing, or their intentions are not clear, or there's some reason why, right? Allah's blocking it from happening. So that isn't to say that in any venture or, you know, pursuit that you should stop immediately when you reach resistance. Definitely not to say that, because sometimes you have to push and power through that resistance. But if you've tried and exhausted like all means, and it's been like time and time after again, then maybe you should, you know, reframe your approach and think like, you know, maybe it's not right, maybe it's not meant to be, maybe Allah's trying to teach me something, maybe this person or this thing or whatever, it's not right, you know? So I mean, praying istikhara, of course, and trying to just ask Allah for guidance is important too. I want to ask you, how have your values and your faith, if you like to speak on it, influenced the way you do business?
So you have to think twice for everything. And so if I didn't have the values or the religion that I you know, take pride in, that I have now, I wouldn't think twice about anything, because I wouldn't care about the repercussions of my actions.
Yeah.
And so, and maybe more than twice. You know, if you're a good business owner, you'll think twice. If you're a good, faithful, religious business owner that has values, you're going to think multiple times about the thing, like 4, 5, 6 times. And notice how I didn't say 6, 7. Notice how I didn't say it. Cameraman in the back, just, I hate you guys. Anyways, so, you know, that's what it is. And so it's like, you know, we got into business and I didn't think twice about it. And it had riba in it. And we were working with a business and I didn't think twice about it. And so I reached out to Zane, one of my co-founders, and my other co-founder was like, I'm just not going to take this money. Okay, and we haven't made money off of it yet, but there's a potential that we can make money off of it. And so I just kind of turned it down after I realized what it was that I'm doing, and I've just said I don't want to be involved in it. Even if, like, the way that I think about it is I own about right now 33% of Global Ventures, and it's like, even if their 33% is doing it, my 33% isn't. And so like you can't stop people, especially your company. That's like saying I'm going to have a 1,000-person company and nothing haram is going to happen there. Impossible, right? So for me, how it reframed everything is, again, you just have to think multiple times about it and look at the root cause for as much as you can. And you mentioned intention. Like if there's a business model, let's say you're working with a company and they're doing something they're not telling you that you don't know about, and you as a Muslim, you take that money, but you have the intention of only working with people that is good and it's clear, that money doesn't become haram anymore, it becomes halal until you know. Or rather, is that correct, or am I?
I'm not a scholar, man, so I don't want to speak on things that I don't know.
But
it sounds
like,
right.
You would assume it sounds right.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak on that too, but it's like if you didn't know, you didn't know.
Yeah, what I do, my understanding is that,
we're held accountable for the things that are obvious and apparent and we should know about. There's certain knowledge which is it's basically mandatory knowledge. It's knowledge that we are supposed to have. Like of wudu, we have to have knowledge of wudu because it requires wudu to pray, and you have to pray. So this is knowledge that you have to know. But if you know every fiqhi matter, every like matter of aqidah, or every matter of some deep Islamic science that you haven't studied, like that's a different story, right? You're not required to have all knowledge of every part of the deen, but there's some required knowledge, and then there's also knowledge beyond that you may or may not have. And regarding other knowledge that's not necessary and required of you, regarding that knowledge, if you didn't know something and you're doing something that is, in disagreement with the deen, or for lack of better terms, then you should not be held accountable for those things. So for example, like if you didn't know, that part of wudu that you did a certain way. I mean, we use the example of wudu because you're supposed to know the basics. But like if there's a deeper matter where some people, with the sock wiping, and there's intricacies to things. Yeah. If you don't know about a certain matter of it, then the hope is that inshallah you won't be, held accountable for the things that you did without knowledge of it. But if you learn something later, right, and if it comes to light that you learned something and you have a valid source and you've learned this from somebody who is an actual scholar and has actual knowledge and actual ilm, and then once you learn that thing, you're like, nah. Yeah. Like then you're accountable because like you know full and well what you're doing is like not the proper way to be doing it, and you're still choosing to do it, and that's definitely a red flag and an issue. But I wanted to ask you, what does barakah look like to you in business?
The good and the bad. So barakah
is like that.
Anything,
I like it.
Anything the bad that comes teaches me how to get something good, and anything good that comes is automatically barakah. And so if you just kind of condition yourself to want to get through the bad first and tackle all the issues that you can possibly have, then you make it impossible for that thing to mess you up and hurt you again. For example, if I know you don't like the word systems, but I
have no problem with it. I use the word systems. I'm just saying I've heard a lot of memes about the people who say like, bro, y'all just say systems. What does it even mean?
Yeah.
It's like that jazzy, like puffy, fluttery, sprinkly, glittery, insert adjective language that people say.
Word.
Yeah, it's like it's like when people use a big word that has no necessary meaning. And
So just to give you an example, let's say we hired somebody to manage 10 clients, and these 10 clients need to have X KPI. If we're not tracking those KPIs and we don't know that it's happening, then we can't track the performance of those guys that are doing well. And so they end up forgetting too because they're not tracking it themselves either. So the client, but they're not hitting the numbers that they're supposed to be hit because we're not tracking it, and we're not tracking the people that are tracking it. And so the more times that you mess up, the more processes that you can create to make sure that system works. And the same thing again applies here, where it's like barakah is all the things that are bad that come with it. It's all your fault.
I like the answer a lot because they say that the predicament and the position and the situation of a Muslim is very, very interesting and very unique in that if something good happens to them, they say Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Because, it's something good has happened to them, right? It's good. And then if something quote unquote bad happens to them, they say Alhamdulillah, because it's something that either they're getting expiated sins, or they're being taught something, or they're being punished in the dunya, so they're not punished in the akhirah. So there's some reason to it and some wisdom to it. And you know that Allah is al-Hakim, as we said again. He's the most wise. So there's a reason why every single thing is happening. It's part of the Qadr. It's part of the decree. So it's like there are no mistakes. There's no reason it shouldn't be happening. When something happens, like, you get into an accident or something happens that on the face is like, wow, this is really bad. You reframe your mindset and you're like, what can I take from this, right? And it's just like, it's always Alhamdulillah for everything. So when people say that, it's one thing, but when they really act on it and implement it in their lives, you see some people, like, I'm sure you know some people, and maybe inshallah we can be people like this too, that like they just are unfazed. And it doesn't mean that they don't have difficulties in life. They often have the hardest lives and they have a lot of difficulties, but they're just like, Alhamdulillah for everything. And they just like, they move with that understanding that this is like, it's all part of the process. It's all part of the
whatever
life.
happens.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many things I go through that I should have a reaction to that I don't have a reaction to at all whatsoever. And it's like, you know, if somebody who's an outsider sees the day-to-day of what happens and the client's complaining and this happening and people, you know, potentially like if somebody like disputes a charge and now we have to go, dude, we sued somebody a month ago. Like nobody hears about that. Nobody knows.
no.
We have to go through lawyers and we had to, you know, and it's like you go through all that and then it's like completely unfazed.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody disputed X amount of money. Oh, this person didn't pay us 10 grand this month what they were supposed to and they left the contract. All these things happen. Like we're owed so much money right now. It's insane.
But hey, that's another
It's a part
alhamdulillah,
of it.
right?
Hey,
Because
I
if
don't
somebody
care.
owes you, you know that at the end of the day, like if they haven't paid that favor back, then that's in the akhirah. You're gonna be
Alhamdulillah.
compensated. So, yeah. I wanted to ask what Islamic or moral principle guides you the most in your day-to-day decisions.
It's gonna be a really simple answer.
For sure.
And it's not gonna be complicated.
Deen is supposed to be
at
made
all.
easy. It's not. I don't want a complex answer.
Yeah. It's taking care of your neighbor. Not in the sense of your direct neighbor, but in the sense of like people around you.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of times what ends up happening when you run a business is you have so many people working under you that you don't get the chance to check in on everyone.
Right.
And, you know, I do these calls like once every 2 weeks with my team just to kind of chat to them and see how they're doing. But I don't talk to everyone. I don't get to see how everybody is doing. And I know that a lot of the time, like there's a lot of stress that happens in the business. And, you know, I was even told that I was being, I'm not necessarily a rude person, but I was talking in a bad tonality to one of the employees, and she had to tell one of my co-founders. She was like, "Hey, can you just tell Ibrahim this, and this?" She wanted to tell me something, but didn't want to tell me directly because she thought I was. Anyways, it's just one of these things where it's like, you gotta check in on everybody that's around you. You gotta take care of them as if like you were in their shoes.
It's the compassion and the empathy that's supposed to be of the characteristics of
It's
a
the
Muslim,
empathy.
because we know that we could be in their shoes, they could be in ours. So why are we treating them as if their situation doesn't matter when our situation could equally be that? Because we didn't choose to be born in our circumstances, and they didn't choose to be born in their circumstances.
Exactly. And so having empathy actually increases retention, believe it or not. So you have clients stay on longer when you can empathize with the problems that they're having inside of your business and
like
give
this
them
person
solutions.
truly cares.
Yeah,
And we know the
yeah.
ummah is like one body, so we're supposed to care about all of our neighbors and everybody around us, even like part of the deen or not.
Yeah, and we were talking about intention. I've said this before. If your intention is to build a business and make a ton of money, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Of course, I've talked about this time and time again, and I oftentimes start that conversation with that. I was in a conversation with Jewel, the sartorial shooter. He's a great guy to talk to, and he was saying the same thing, which is I said in business, our end goal, if it's money, it's the wrong intention. What we're supposed to be doing in business is upholding our Islamic rights and responsibilities. If we're consuming interests, or if we're doing things in the wrong way, then that's the issue. If we're doing things the right way and we're focused on, having the most, morally upright and like efficient and beneficial business, then the money and everything, that's just a result that's going to come. That's all like Allah's ar-Razaq. Allah is the one who's going to provide all your rizq and all of the blessings and everything. So you have this misconception a lot of the times, people do, that they're in control of like the outcome. You're not. You're only in control of the inputs. You're in control of the things that you do and how you do it. And if you do that the right way, why would the output be anything but goodness, right? So definitely. I was going to ask you, do you have any mentors?
I do, in a way. It's funny, my mentor is my current business partner.
Oh, wow.
And he has built and sold 3 businesses and started a business when he was like 16, 17, Zane Group. And so he had a LinkedIn marketing company, which is exactly what Omni is. And before we started working together, we built that company ourselves. And this dude came and was like, "Hey, we're gonna help you build and scale I'm gonna help you build and scale your business, whatever, give me some equity." And because we knew him and he was our friend, we're just like, we thought about it for a little bit, we talked about it, we're just like, fine, whatever. We gave him some equity. He did nothing, by the way, he did no work. And now he has free equity inside of our business. Where's all the cameras? He has free equity inside of our business. And so that's why Grow Big Ventures was created, because I was like, if he can take equity so easily into businesses, why can't we take equity so easily into businesses? And
Are you serious?
I'm not joking. That's the reason why this company exists. Because I learned, that was the first time I learned about how you can take equity in businesses and scale it.
Long story short is, shout out Zane. Right?
No, not that one. No, anything else, sure. No, not that one. I give him 0% credit for this. But anyways, that angered me, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. He's doing nothing. I want to also build a business and whatever, and just have be the second or third guy in the company, and not necessarily make money passively, but get to a point where it's justifiable to continue to make money passively by helping that company scale. And it's a great model, dude. It's a phenomenal model.
Yeah.
But the mentor, Zane, and who else, man? I don't know.
I mean, one's
Like,
pretty good,
I get
It's been him the whole time?
Yeah, but he also has his own mentors, and it's like I get inspired by people.
For sure,
And I learn,
yeah.
like Amar Rashid, I contacted him on Instagram the other day, and I was like, hey man, I see you're on these talk shows a lot. Not talk shows, but like you're on stages a lot. What do you recommend I should do to get on stage a little bit more? And so I heard his feedback, and it's always good. Like everyone is my mentor.
Great guy,
Everyone's
but
my
has
mentor.
great advice. Genuinely, he's mentored a lot of people too, and changed their lives too. So like even in a short conversation with him, I'm always benefiting. But how about the other side? Do you mentor anybody else? Do you have people who you mentor?
So I have a bi-weekly group coaching call where for now I think we have about 15, 20 people that join that one. And essentially what we do is we just go through various business strategies and tactics. So every single week it's different. 2 weeks ago it was sales. This upcoming week it's going to be probably operations. And so we build that out. I jump on camera, I even record it. And there's a couple people that I work with. One person, we actually flew out to Colombia literally just to lock in. Terrible place to lock in, by the way, but we went there to lock in.
Real quick, tell me about a project or client situation that went completely wrong. What happened and what did you learn?
Dude, every single project that we've created, we always come up with new ideas and we sell it before we have the time to know how to do it. And so what we essentially do is we put ourselves in a situation where we have to figure it out. And then we have, like one of our employees, Leon, great guy, he's our COO now. Essentially, he's just like a wizard with all things tech and AI related. And so, whatever it is that we need him to figure out, we'll just say, look, here's the goal, here's what we want it to be done, go ahead and do it. And so there really isn't a specific situation that goes wrong because something goes wrong every single day. So it all just merges into this blob of just things that keep going wrong with clients and things that keep going wrong with things. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's all problem solving, right? Yeah. Was there a moment where you genuinely considered quitting?
If I want to be honest, no.
That's tough. I like that.
Never.
There's no option.
There's no other option. It's just like it's all gonna suck.
Yeah. Like we were
You're
saying
gonna work
earlier.
a job and it's gonna suck.
Choose your hard, basically.
Pretty much.
All right. How do you manage burnout, especially when people rely on you?
I don't know how to identify a lot of things, and so I don't know.
I think that's a good thing, though.
I feel like it is a good thing.
We're like in an era in society of labeling a lot of things. Like I have this, I have that.
Yeah, and it's like behind the camera we were talking about like how much work it actually takes to become successful, and it's like compared to what? What am I comparing this to? Somebody who's as large as Jeff Bezos or the average person, right? And so it's like I have this like reality of what things should be like that most average people don't, because I'm not talking to most average people. I'm talking to high performers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's a different POV that you're looking at.
Yeah.
How do you stay grounded when business is growing fast?
Hold on for dear life, man. There's this thing called growing pains, and it's like, we talked about this on the other podcast too, where it's like, if business grows, you're not gonna be growing, it's not gonna be like up month over month. What it's gonna look like is it's gonna go up and then it's gonna plateau. You're gonna be plateauing for 3-4 months on average, right? The longer the plateau, the more money that you have to break through. And so to break through more money, you have to build the team first that can sustain more money coming in. What this looks like is
like what I was talking about with the income too.
Yeah, because it's all predictable, right? If you spend X amount of money and you get X amount of clients, and you've been doing that for the last year, you're gonna have the data to know that if you do this, this is gonna be the result. But the problem is if you do it, but your team can't take it on, then you're cooked pretty much, right?
What's the hardest truth you've had to learn about entrepreneurship?
No one is there to save you. So, and people are there to save children, people are there to save women. People will feel bad, people will be empathetic, but it's like you tell them, hey, I'm working as hard as I can. And if it's not enough, it's not enough.
Yeah. Like just like you said, I mean, business is a lot like life in general, and that's true in all realms. Like nobody's there to save you, and I think that's kind of like our role as men, and so it's our natural disposition to be in that role that like we have to be the savers. You
You
know?
have to be the savers, but also it's like expect it.
Yeah, definitely. Looking ahead, I want to know what's next for you. New ventures, new industries, bigger goals, anything that you can get into.
New ventures. Let me think.
Go
Make sure all
big
the cameras see.
ventures.
New ventures. Yeah, man. So I'm really big and really passionate about helping companies scale and primarily just seeing people see growth because of efforts that my team or I have made. And it's like, it's the best feeling in the world. Like, I'll give you an example. GrowthBridge is one of the companies that we own a percentage of. It's a
Right.
staffing firm. So we set up some email for them. And this guy has been in business for 20 years, like super rich guy, stacked. And he sees me and my team, and we're a little bit, younger guys. And he wants to partner up with us. And so we built another business, which is like a spin-off of the business that he had. And he's never gotten leads consistently for like 15, 20 years of all the time that he's been doing this. He's just been working word of mouth. So we came in and we created a predictable system for him. We brought on people to manage that system for him. Now I'm out of the day-to-day and they're getting like multiple leads in a day. And each deal to them is worth anywhere between like $10,000 all the way up to like, $80,000 per month for them. Just depending on like how much they're staffing for and how large the company is and the relationship. And they're going after manufacturing companies, which are always staffing. But anyways, long story short, that's kind of the premise.
Okay, yeah, for sure. How do you prepare yourself for the next evolution of your business?
It's always evolving. And so you just have to stay prepared all the time. And it's like the only time that you should prepare yourself for the next evolution is if you're changing a department or you're making a big change. And the more people that you have, the bigger the change will be. And the best example I'll give is if you had a sales team of like 6 people, and let's say one of your offers 3 years from now, let's say you started today, it was working 3 years from now, that offer may not work because more people are selling it and it's just, more in the market.
Oversaturated.
Or, that specific marketing channel that you're using, everyone is hearing about it and there's just more competition. And so it's a lot tougher to train these guys to make that pivot and to switch and to change the positioning, and you have to like retrain everyone, and then you got to go tell the marketing team that this is not what we're doing, and you have to keep everyone on board, and that'll take a couple of days. And it's a lot easier, it's a lot harder to do that than if you were a 1 or 2 man team, because then you just say, hey, we're doing this. Okay, great, phenomenal. So like you just have to choose one thing, stick to it as much as you can, and make as little changes as possible, because every change that you make is like almost like you restarting, essentially.
Right. What's the major change that you see coming in the digital business space that you think most people aren't ready for?
Personalization. Like, if you have the right data on people, which you're getting, and you put that in with AI, which can do research on people, then you can personalize everything for everyone.
Yeah.
And so we do that now ourselves. It's like when somebody books a call, and then this is less AI, but it is personalization, and they tell us who they are, we'll send them a page for people just like they are. So if they're like a coach consultant, which we used to work with, not a lot less now, we'll send them, here's all the coaches and consultants that we worked with. And if you're a coach and consultant, boom, and it's like a personalized video. And anybody who goes to any of our websites and books a call with us at all can see this live, where if you book a call, we're just gonna send you a personalized thing to you, specifically to you. And so
Where do they do that?
Say that again?
Where do they do that?
Where or how? Oh,
Where?
growbigventures.com, omniai.com, one of the two. We're selling OmniAI, so just growbigventures.com. But the other thing that we're doing right now is, again, using a platform called N8N, so N8N. And essentially, it's a platform that you can use to code things pretty easily. So again, we hired a developer, and what we're doing is we're sending like super personalized emails to everyone saying, I know you're this person, and you've done this, this, and this, and whatever. Open for a brief conversation, and the response rate goes up massively.
Yeah.
So AI is the answer. Yes.
Personalization and AI, yeah. I was expecting you to say AI, but when the way you said that and tied it in with AI, really like that hit home and that made sense, because I'm like, I would agree, because AI is just like a broad general term that people are all saying it's changing things, but how is it changing things? And you're talking about with how it could personalize things. I would definitely
and everyone says AI because like that's the general answer that everybody likes to give. Yeah, like AI is changing the world. Good job. You're looking at some news articles.
What is it not changing is the easier question. Yeah.
Exactly. That's literally. So yeah.
If you could speak to yourself from 5 years ago, what's one piece of advice you'd give?
Don't worry about satisfying others and satisfy yourself through God.
I like it. What's a common myth about entrepreneurship that you wish more people understood?
More is more, and more is less at the same time. So it's like,
Expand on that.
so basically, if you have more companies, okay, and you distribute your time across everything, more becomes less.
Yeah, you have less time because you have more things to manage.
Yeah, and so you start diluting yourself, right?
Right.
But the simple definition of scaling a business literally means more is more. Not more services, not more verticals, not more, like literally just more. And so there's a common misconception that most companies and business owners have, where it's like they think the guys that are doing better than them in their industry, they're doing like 2 or 3 times the output, they have 2 or 3 times the people, they're doing just slightly a bit more. But in reality, if you like zoom out a little bit on the lens, what you'll start to see is that they're doing 1,000 times more, 2,000 times more, 3,000 times more. And it's like most people can't comprehend how much more you need to do in order for you to get to a level where you're even like at an even playing field of everybody else and what they're doing. There's a company that we started working with. The owner took it from 0 to 13 million ARR. Their name is RB2B. And I think we talked to him when they were at like 0. And it took him 2 years to get there.
Wow.
And he was just like reaching out to anyone and everyone. And so he made a video talking about that actually that I watched, but it's pretty cool to see in person.
So what's your ultimate vision for your life beyond business and money?
Family. I'm a big believer of like, and I'm trying to get better at this, it's easier said than done, but if you're doing something, focus on that one thing that you're doing 100% of the time. So it's like when you start to mix things, like you're sitting with your family, and I used to have like different mindset on this. When you have like your laptop out and you're working, you're spending some time here, some time there. It's going to be more effective if you split that time in half. You spend all your time
Be fully
there.
present.
Be fully present there, and then you spend, that's how you balance things essentially.
All right, can we go rapid fire?
Sure.
Discipline or inspiration?
Discipline, 10 times out of 10.
Are people born ambitious or made ambitious?
Made ambitious.
Meaning or achievement?
Meaning.
What's one belief that changed your trajectory?
Tawakkul.
Does pressure bring out the best or the worst?
The best.
One truth about life you've learned too late?
More is more.
Is chaos good or bad for growth?
Good.
Speed or precision?
Speed.
Hire fast or fire fast?
Both.
10 loyal clients or 100K followers?
10 loyal clients.
Ego kills or fear kills?
Ego kills.
Data or instinct?
Data.
You answered that on instinct though.
For what?
Data or instinct?
Yeah, data.
And you answered that on instinct.
Yeah, on instinct. Yeah. Exactly, it's always data.
I feel like your instinct tells you, right?
Well, yeah, but you know, though, so like the more ways that you track, the more ways that you can be successful. It's like, how do you
never
know?
go against the metrics?
Go against the metrics. If you have a new strategy, like for example, if you're trying something else, yeah, go against the metrics. See what you're doing and figure out how to do it better. But the only way to see what you're doing is to know what you're actually doing and what's actually going on in your business.
What's one thing every business owner overcomplicates?
Starting.
One trait that makes someone unstoppable?
Running away from themselves, from who they are. Like
one trait that makes someone unstoppable?
Yeah, running away from who they are. It's like the best business owners ever are running away from something, and no matter how successful they are, they always don't feel like they're successful.
So, an unrelenting desire or will
like
to keep on going and not be satisfied with the version that they're at.
Yeah, there's a very common theme that happens with really successful entrepreneurs, and it's like they believe and think that they're the best, but at the same time, they think that they're not anywhere near what they want to be.
But they're competing with themselves is the reason why.
With themselves.
Yeah. So it's like they're never going to be better than the version of themselves they know they could be because they haven't been it yet. Recognition or results?
Results.
What scares you most about success?
Straying away from deen in my own family.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah.
Tell me.
I've had a moment in my life where I didn't pray my prayers and I wasn't close to my deen, let alone didn't remember it because I was too busy.
In the grind.
Yeah. And the same exact thing with my family. And it's like, in the grand scheme of things, you don't know how much longer you have with your parents, and I'm lucky enough to have both. and I'm lucky enough to have all my family, and it's like, something happens, am I gonna regret not being around them? Am I gonna regret not doing something? Will I live with regrets for the rest of my life? And that's a deep thought to think about.
That was good that you're considering that, yeah. What's a risk that you're glad you took?
Not going back to work ever again. And I told myself that.
What's the next chapter of your life called?
Growing big. Literally, I'm not joking.
You thought deep about that one, huh?
I thought really deep about that one.
Yeah. How does your identity as a Muslim influence the way you move in business in your life?
It allows me to stay humble. Is that a rapid fire question, or is that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was just thinking about your response, and like, I like that response, but I want you to dig into why a little bit.
The reason why it allows you to stay humble is because you and I know that there's life outside of dunya. And so what we're chasing is we're chasing that life. We're not chasing the life of what we have now. And the people that chase the life of what they have now need to put value into something. And you can't live life without value. And so the people that put the value into something in life, and they've got it all, they've got the recognition, they've got the cars, they've got everything, won't have any more value to put into anything, meaning they're living a life with zero value. And so that creates a lack of purpose, and that creates depression. And so staying humble simply just means that nothing that you have is truly yours, and that you can lose it at any moment. And the second that you're in the grave, the only thing that you keep is what you've done and how much you've helped people and your own deeds that you've done in this world.
Yeah. What do you think Allah is preparing for you, or preparing you for right now?
To go through the most difficult phase of my life.
What's the biggest sin people ignore because it feels small?
Haram money, taking haram money, like doing things that could potentially be wrong, and going through with it anyways, and they're almost blind. There's a surah in the Quran that says, we gave you eyes, but you're still blind.
Yeah, and it's not the eyes that are blind, but the hearts.
It's the heart that's blind.
What do you ask Allah for the most these days?
Forgiveness.
What trait of the Prophet ﷺ inspires you most as a businessman?
Not giving a reaction, and not giving into and fighting back against people that fight me. So just, if somebody is wronging you, you just have to believe that at some point there will be justice that will be gotten, but it doesn't have to be you as the reason why that justice happens.
Have you had that experience in business where somebody, like, you dealt with that? There was somebody who cheated you out of a business deal or something of the sort where you're like, this is just,
of course,
you know?
Yeah, that's why we sued someone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we won, by the way. We won. We made some good money through that.
Okay, bet. Yeah. What's the hardest thing about being a Muslim entrepreneur for you?
Having to stay humble, man. It really is difficult. I don't mean to be that guy, but it really is freaking difficult. Like, to have somebody, come to you and say, oh, you Andrew Tate, I don't want to buy your course, I don't want to do this. Everything in me wants to just pull out my camera and just record everything that is
No,
around
I agree.
me.
I would have given the same answer, because you're like, in business, it's kind of counterintuitive. You're trying to present them all your successes and show them what you can do for them, or prove to them that they're wrong. But then at the same time, you're supposed to be humble and you're supposed to keep it to yourself. So it's like, as long as you're checking your intention with it, I think it's important.
Yeah, but it attracts the wrong market. It
Yeah.
attracts the wrong people.
It comes with it though, right?
It comes with it.
Finish the sentence. Success without Allah is
Useless.
okay. I like that. What do you do to protect your heart from corruption?
Pray.
What's one reminder that always hits your soul?
Life is just a cycle, and the problems that you're having with your own family and with your own parents, your own kids will have it with you. And so everything that you're going through right now, you're going through it for a reason. And the more difficult that you make life for people around you now, the more difficult life will be for you later with other people around you.
I heard a story about that too, like without telling about the whole story. Maybe that you heard about it was like this kid and his father and the way he had treated him and how he had like kind of abandoned him for his wife. And then the story goes that afterwards, like he has his own family and his son actually treats him the same exact way, ends up abandoning him. And long story short, it's like the perfect justice of Allah, what goes around comes around. So if you think it's not like
gonna happen to you ever, you're wrong.
What do you hope Allah writes for you at the end of your story?
That my family and I all go to Jannah, and I get to have an impact on at least one person in this life.
Do you think you've had that impact on somebody yet?
My opinion on if that impact happened or not is irrelevant to how they feel. That means only they can say that.
Right.
I don't know.
But in your opinion, do you think you've had that impact on somebody yet?
I can only hope.
You can only hope. What's one lesson you hope your younger siblings or cousins or anybody you know around you can learn from your journey?
No matter how many times you get told to stop, if you do it for long enough, it will work.
And do you think it's working for you now?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that thing, that a trait that I think you have and a lot of these guys in entrepreneurship have, where it's like you're comparing yourself against your best version of yourself and how you haven't reached that yet. So it's like, it's always half working.
So my fiance, she's great by the way, she has to keep reminding me that it's like, I'm at a place that most people can't even think of being in. And it's like, look, you're doing great, like you're successful. I'm like, am I successful? And I always have that conversation with her. And it depends on what you define success as, but if I really think about it, I'd say the answer is yes. But on first thought, I'm broke.
Yeah. It's like a balance of like
I'm broke, like
puffing up your chest and then humbling yourself at the same
time. There's people out there that are even somebody who makes 10%, 20% more than I make. Compared to them, I'm broke.
Yeah. So for the people watching this as we close out, are you basically telling them that you have to, adopt the same mindset and take the same approach to life as you did to be successful? Or like, what should they take away from this? Because I feel like a lot of people see a person in your position, they're like, okay, well, he quit his job and he's telling me quit my job and that's the only way I'm going to be successful.
No, I'm not saying quit your job. No, I'm saying quit your job only if you believe that this is not the right thing for you and you're willing to take that risk. And the number one advice I'll give is how much time that you work times how much leverage that you have. And so if you can decrease the time between the tasks that are needed for you to do and go back to work sooner. So like, I see a lot of people that they have to go through this whole entire morning routine and they're like, oh, I need to first
cold plunge
do this and I do the freaking cold plunge and this and I gotta go to the gym. And it's like the more that you decrease that time, the more that you'll have that time to work. And then whatever repetitive tasks that you have, you start to leverage your time by bringing other people to do these repetitive tasks. And even if they're not repetitive, like they say time is money, money is also time. So
it's not about quitting your job, but it's about making enough time to work on your hustle and the things you want to do. Definitely. I mean, anything else that you would tell them to close out besides plug in growing?
I was going to do that too, and you know me. No, don't forget your prayers, brush your teeth if you haven't already and it's late at night, I don't know. No, but for real though, growbigventures.com, so we're a private equity consulting firm and venture studio. So if you have an idea or if you have something that you want to build and you want a professional opinion on how to scale or grow your business past a certain point, we know how you want to market, what your operational team should look like. We're here and we're here to help completely for free. So if they're looking to do that, and there's a potential we might even invest in your business and actually help you scale then. So go to growbigventures.com if you're looking for, obviously, help. But regardless, it's been a great podcast, and you asked some phenomenal questions. And
yeah, man.
Like, share, subscribe.
Ups and downs and mic cuts and battery recharges and everything. I think we just have one more, but Jazakallah khair for coming, man. Assalamu alaikum. We'll have to run it back probably soon at some time.
Inshallah.
And y'all tap in and support Ibraheem Alani.
Yes. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
All right.